Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's ClaritySoft webinar. Today is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. I'm Susan Arnold, Implementation Specialist here at ClaritySoft, and our topic for today is an introduction to the Enhanced Activities module. The Enhanced Activities module is available to anyone who already has ClaritySoft. And it will be part of the package as for any new people coming on board starting in another week or so. So I wanted to put together a webinar to describe how you work in here. It is a little bit different. It gives you some more capabilities than you have in the standard activities module. And so I wanted to go over that so we have a video to refer people to when they're coming on board as a new customer, or if you are making the switch. So first of all, what is Enhanced Activities? Enhanced Activities is a new version of the Activities module. Anyone can switch to it at any time. There is no cost for it. We just have not released it out to the general pool of customers, waiting for some different enhancements to be completed. But what does it offer you? It first of all will offer you the ability to add custom fields. This is the only module, the activities module has been the only module that did not allow you to add custom fields. You now will have the ability to add custom fields to an activity record. And the other nice thing about it, as with the other modules, when you add a custom field in one module and then you create the same custom field throughout the database and other modules, the data flows, the same thing will occur with the activities module. So if you have a, I'm just going to use an industry type field in your modules and you decide to open that, create that field in your activity record, then that data will flow into there. So you could search for all your activities by industry type. So again, that is really nice to have the capability to do that. The other thing that is really good for people is you're able to link your activity to multiple modules. That means that you can create an activity in the opportunity record, but you can also link it to a quote record, or you could link it to the account and the contact specifically. This has been a challenge in the past because in opportunities, it didn't really link it to the opportunity where you could go search for all the activities specific to a particular opportunity. Now you can. So that multiple module link really adds some capabilities to your activities for searching and reporting. The other thing is in the meetings type of activity, you are able to add multiple participants. So you attach the activity to an account and a contact, but then you can add participants to that meeting, and they can be users, they can be other contacts, they can even be a custom person from outside the database. Bear in mind, don't get too excited. This does not create a calendar invite. You can send the participants an email, but it doesn't create a calendar invite. That is still pending somewhere off in the future. But at least you can send an email to these people and notify them of a meeting that's upcoming. The other thing that's there is an activity ranking at the top of your screen in the activities module, where you'll see how many activities you've done, how many you've completed, what you have scheduled. So it kind of helps you know where you are with your activities for the week. And this is something that you can leave on or you can turn off on an individual basis. So those are the new things. Now, the one thing you have to consider if you are making the switch is that you will lose the connection or the ability to use the offline version of ClaritySoft. And some of you may or may not even know what the offline version is, so you won't care. But the offline version is the installed original version of ClaritySoft that allows you to work offline. Most of our customers are not using it, but if you think you want to maybe use it, or you already are using it, then switching to enhanced activities won't work for you, okay, because you will lose that access. All right, so let's dive in and see what we've got going here. When you make the switch, basically you can call tech support and tell them that you would like to switch to the enhanced activities, and usually the development team will accomplish that overnight. And the next morning when you log in, your database will be exactly the same as it was yesterday. But when you go to the activities module, it will look a little bit different. So let me go there. And now you will see that it does look different. So a few things. First of all, this is your ranking here. This can be turned off if you don't want to use this. It kind of depends on how you work. I know some people are required to make a certain number of phone calls per day. This can be very helpful for you to see where you are as you're working in the database. It's a personal choice whether you leave it on or off, which I will show you how to do in a few minutes. The rest of the screen layout here is similar. We have the activities module name here. We have the drop-down filters for completed, today's activities, tomorrow's, future. Okay, a couple new ones, starred and unstarred, which I shall explain shortly. But the rest is pretty normal for what you're used to seeing right now. The other difference is we've taken the activities and we've given you the ability to put your activities into a category of a task, an event, or a call. So up here, you'll see for a new activity, you can create a new call activity. You can create a new task activity, or you can create an event. So with your activity types, once when you're setting them up, you can assign them to a category of call, task, or event. And then all your tasks will end up under the tasks tab. All your events that you have will end up under the events tab. And then any emails that you send out of ClaritySoft will end up here. So it does group things, categorize things, kind of does a general high-level filter for you when you're looking at things. And then you'll notice that you have some color coding available with your activities. So an activity, you are able to decide what colors you want your completed activities to have versus your in-process activities versus your past due. So in my database, I kind of stuck with the colors that exist, where the green means completed. So these activities are completed, and you can see over here, I have a completed date, and there's my completed date for them. And then these are ones that are in process with the red. And then the yellow in my database means they're past due. So you can see this was supposed to be done in August, and this has been hanging here since last May. And this one's from last April. So these are past due, they need to be dealt with. All right. So that color coding is something you can set up as well. Then over here is the starred view. You can star an activity by clicking in the little star. That just is kind of a way to make it, I need to pay attention to this one. And then you can come up here to that filter and show all of your starred activities, okay? So it's just a way for you to help you maybe prioritize them a little bit more, so that the ones that are starred are the ones that are ones you really need to jump on. So that's your capabilities there. And then you can click it to unstar it, okay? Your row action button over here is the same, where you can mark an activity complete. You can clone it. You can convert it. I don't remember what you convert to. You can delete it. So it's the layout is the same. The filters are here, your quick search, okay? Your advanced search is here, and then your views that you create and save with advanced search are there, and then you have the ability to select any user in the list besides yourself to see those activities, okay? Up in the upper right, we have the vertical ellipsis button and column settings, and just like you can do, you may move any of your fields that you want, including the custom fields that you have in an activity, over into the column view. And then set this down here. I always like to set it to 100. So this is the same as what you have. So the newer things are your link object and your link name. So let's open an activity that we have here already created just to see what we have and view the activity record. So this particular one is a call. And then this is the category, or it's called primary type. And then you can have different types of calls. You could have an inbound call or an outbound call or a whatever sales call or support call. And then you would pick from that list. I only have one item here right now. Then you have your subject line, which you fill in. What is the purpose of your call? You have your start date and time. And when you click on this, you get a calendar. So you'd click on the date and then you'd select your time of when you want to do it. Click OK. Then this will default to the same date and 30 minutes later. And then you can say, well, that should only take me 30 minutes. Maybe, if you're doing a presentation, you might need an hour, hour and a half. So you just do the same thing, open the little window, set the time, and you're good. So the date and the time are together. And then you can have a reminder turn on. And I do have a reminder on this one for 3:45 p.m., but I have another one that should be popping up around 2:30. So this one should go off at 3:45. But what you get with your reminder is what date, what time, and then down at the bottom, you can include an email to be sent. So what will happen at the time of the reminder, you'll get a pop-up within ClaritySoft to tell you, much like you do in Outlook, but you'll also receive an email. And so that adds the nice touch of having the pop-up within the software. If you're working in ClaritySoft, then you'll see that pop-up show up and you don't have to pay attention to your email. And then you'd click set reminder. So this is a turn off, turn on, turn off sort of thing here. Okay. Assign to, you can assign an activity to any user in the system. So you'll see some people in here because I've used this database for a bunch of samples, test databases. And then if you want that person to receive an email, you click this to turn it on. And when you point there, it says send assignee an email. Here's the link to, and this is what starts to give you the capabilities for better searching and reporting on your activities. So here, depending on where you create the activity, if you start in an account record, then it will automatically have the account record there. If you start in a contact record, it will have the account, contact information, and then you can add. So when you want to add, you can add, and you can see this one is connected to the opportunity. So I started in the opportunity as its primary location for the activity. And then it's also connected to the account and to the contact. And then I can add any other contact. I could add another account if a person is from another account. I wanted to add to connect this. So you simply choose it I'm just going to do a random account here, and then I'm going to type in, because I know that's in here. We'll do that. And it will now add that account as another link that I could search on Grapetime Winery and find this activity associated with Grapetime Winery. Okay. So this gives you a lot of capabilities here to add multiple locations or links to multiple modules. You have your notes field here. Just type your notes. It's a great big text box that just will expand as you type. I happen to have a field here for import source for importing. This is a custom field that you wouldn't necessarily need. Then up here, this is your priority, low, medium, or high that you can set, clicking on that. You may add an attachment to the activity if you wish. So you would go, do browse and find the file that you want to attach. Okay, if you don't want to attach it to the activity, you can attach it to a record. And then this is a new feature in here, which is called the checklist. When you click on this button, the checklist little drop down here is, do you want to create a new checklist, or do you want to use one that's already been saved? So if I say new, then it brings a field over here that is a checklist field. And what I can do then is I can put in a little checklist of what I need to do, maybe to talk about when I'm calling about scheduling this presentation. I might need to, ask about equipment that they have, for the presentation. And then I hit enter, and that becomes checkbox. I might need to ask them, what's the conference, the conference room or something like that. I want to find out what the conference room, how it's set up. So I can add all these questions that I want to remind myself to ask when I'm scheduling this presentation. So when I arrive, I'm not going to get surprised by not having something that I need for that presentation. So I can just keep adding, number of people, whatever. So if I'm giving handouts. So I just type my checklist. And then what's sort of nice about this is I can come over here, click, and save the list. And then I can say, set up checklist or something like that and save it. So that becomes a list that I can then pull up later in another activity. And I can continue to add to it. So it's a nice functionality to have. And then if I don't want this visible, I'll just come up here, click this button that's now grayed out, and it takes it away. But then I can pop it back down and say, well, I want the setup checklist. Okay. Or when I click here, I can do the proposal checklist. So it just makes that activity a little bit more useful as far as being able to plan with the activity, plan ahead. And then the more button, this gives you additional fields that are available as well. And you can have additional custom fields. This outcome, we can customize this, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. Okay. So just some of the features that are here. Again, if I click here and click on this, it goes away. So it's a way to control what you see in the window when you want to see it. So it's nice. Then when you're ready here, now this is scheduled for later today, so it won't get completed until then. But I have a save, and I have a save plus new, which says, well, do I want to create a new call, new event, new task? Okay. And when I get to complete, I also have a complete plus new, and I can choose which one. All right. I just want to save this right now because that is pending. But that's how that's a general look at that. All right, so when you get the enhanced activities, what do you need to do first? Just like with the other modules, you need to decide, well, do we want any custom fields in the module? And if we do want custom fields, which ones do we want? So you go through the same thinking process as you did with your other modules when setting up your database. And what you need to do is go to settings. So it requires an admin user to do this. And you go to customization. And then you go down to activities. So now you can see that just like the other modules, when you click on them, they have custom fields. We now have custom fields in activities. Okay. So I've got some here I've X'd out because I want to add them again. And so let's say that I want to have an industry field in my activity module just because I might want to see whether we concentrate on one industry over another. I don't know. So what I'm going to do, because I want this data to come in from these other modules, I'm simply going to go back to accounts and I'm going to open. It's the same technique you follow. I'm copying this. And then I'm going to my activities. And I'm going to add industry. So it needs to be the same field name and the same data type. Now notice you don't have as many data types in the activities module as you do in the others, but these are pretty sufficient for what you want to do. And then I'm going to paste this. All right. And then I also want to add a territory one just for the heck of it. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to copy my list and then come here. And this one was a drop down. Paste and save. All right. Now, another custom field that a lot of people ask about, especially those that are in perhaps the legal area, financial area where you're working with a client and you're tracking your time. That's never been an easy thing to do in ClaritySoft without sort of fudging it. So now you're able to do that where we can create a new custom field called hours spent or time spent or just hours. I'm going to put hours spent and then make it a number field. And you'd want 2 decimal places because you might do 1.25 or 0.25 or something like that. So you'd probably want the 2 decimal places and then save it. So now we have a way inside of our activity record to track that phone call. I spent 30 minutes on it, 0.50 hours. And then that can be pulled out into a report and you can start to get some totals grouped by the client or the customer. Okay. So again, anything else that you want in your activity module, there's all kinds of things I'm sure all of you can think of that you would want for custom fields. So you just sit down, think them through, put them in, just like you do with your other modules. Then, just like with the other modules, once you've added those, then you can go to your user interface templates. Now, I'm going to do that, then I'm going to come back to the activity types. So when you get to user interface templates, you'll now see that you actually have 3 different user interface templates for your activities. One for a call, one for an event, and one for a task. So if I go to the call one, and then you choose your profile, now you see your different fields here, okay, that we just added. So the first column here is the visible fields. That would be the main screen. The side menu is over on that side where you could see attachment and checklist. And then the more button will be the fields that are under that more button that you click that expands. So you start dragging things over. Now, hours spent, I would think you probably want that on your main visible screen, okay? Industry, we'll put it there just because it'll be interesting to see. And then the territory will move. Nope, it won't put it there. You have to put it over here. Okay, so we can put that there. And then the other thing you can do in here is for your activity module under the tabs, you can set what columns you want by default for your team. So you can drag things over so they can see what they want. For example, you might want the hours spent, okay? And then you can apply it to all the users. So you can decide what you want here. This is true in all of the user interface templates. And then save it. So we've set up the call template. Then you would go to your event one. And again, bring over what you want to see and where. So maybe this time I'm going to stick this one over here and this one over here. So you'll see the difference. And then I'll do the task. So the other thing you can think about here is that if you, there's my pop-up reminder right on the button. So this is a meeting I have scheduled, okay? So this is showing me, and I can snooze it for 10, 20, or 30 minutes. So what the heck, we'll snooze it for 10 minutes and it'll pop back up. Then I also will receive an email. In fact, I already have. Let me interrupt. And there's my email, okay? So that's sending me the email as well as giving me the pop-up. The pop-up is nice so that you're getting it without having to have your email in front of you. Okay, what I started to say here is that you can have different custom fields that might apply to a task versus an event versus a call. So you create all the custom fields and then you put which ones are applicable to the particular type of activity. So again, you may want your hours spent if you're doing something to prepare for something, okay? And then I'll bring this here. Well, actually, let's do it this way. We'll just do everyone a little bit different. Put that one there, okay? So I've done that. Then let me back up and go back to activities and activity types. So with activity types, you create your activity type and then you assign it to which primary type or category you want to assign it to. So for example, if I wanted to add another call type, okay, so we're just gonna say snooze 30 minutes and then we're gonna complete it. we're going to assign it, create a new call type. So what I would do here is click the add button and then type the kind of call it is. So let's say it's a, well, if we wanted to designate it as a follow-up call, sometimes people want to do that. Or it could be, you know, a cold call or whatever. So here's my primary type. So I choose call, all right, and then save. So I've now added that as another activity type. So when you're creating these, you put them in the category where they should go. If you want, you can put them all in the same category. It doesn't matter to the system. For example, if you don't really like having to click on a tasks tab and an events tab to see your activities, make them all tasks or make them all events. And then you click on one tab and everything is there. Doesn't matter. It's just up to you. Okay. Now, the other thing is here, I have this BackSafe seminar that's in here. This database is a bit messy because I let a lot of people use it as a sample. But I don't want this activity type anymore. And something that is different is if I want to delete this, it comes up and says, whoa, no, you cannot delete this until you transfer everything for this particular activity type to something else, so you don't lose any records. So what you can do, this is an event, and you can say, what activity type do you want it to be? So I know I don't have anything in here. I'm just going to convert them all to be a meeting. So you're basically telling the system, okay, I want to get rid of this, but it won't let me until I convert it to something else or transfer it to something else, just to protect the data in the database. Okay. And then it will delete it. I'm not going to do that. Well, no, I'll go ahead and do it. What the heck? And then save it. And then it comes up, it says, okay, I'm going to delete it now because I transferred anything that belonged to that particular activity type to the meeting type. Okay. So that's a protection for you. But again, you can add as many activity types as you need that makes sense to you, and then just assign them to the proper category or primary type. So once, if you are converting, that'll be one of the first things to do is come in here to the settings and make sure that all your activity types that you have are in a category where you want them to be. And then you just simply switch them and save them. Okay, so we've done that. Then over here on the left, you have your color preferences. And this is where you get to select your colors for an open, for a completed, or a past due. So you can type in, you know, particular color code, or, oh, I got to remember where you click. Yes, in there. Or you can select whatever color you want. And you have the more colors here, which will give you just about anything that you want. Or if you have a specific color, then you can type in the code number for it. So what the heck, let's change this to purple. Okay. So you go to each one and then you select the color that you want and then click apply. Okay. Then the outcome, this is your other setup, is for the outcome. This is a way to help your sales team, you know, pick an outcome for a particular activity that they're doing, whether it's a call or a task or an event, or you create a list of possible outcomes for them to select from, so they can type in some notes, but then they can very quickly pick, okay, I made a call, the person wasn't there, I left a message, okay? Or I made a call and spoke with, so you could say, I'll just put spoke with contact, you'd put something better and then assign it to be a call outcome. Okay. And then you could add additional ones. So you would add, again, as many outcomes as you can think of that would help make it easier for your team and assign them to the correct category, because the outcome list will change according to what type of activity, category type of activity you're putting in. All right. So you can add activity outcome. Now, again, once you've done all of this, you need to log out and log back in. So the admin person is going to do all of that work. When we go back to activities, now we see purple instead of that kind of pinky red for my in-process activities, okay? And so we see that, and then we have our events, and we have our tasks, all right? And then for the people, when you log in for the normal user, this ranking bar up here, if you don't want this, you go to the settings menu, and then under my settings, you will see activity options. And then you get to set some options here. So you can set your default reminder time to be 15 minutes or whatever number you want to type in. View the activity ranking. You uncheck that, you won't see that. Default primary activity type. When you go to create a new activity, which one do you want to default to? So you can choose that. And then which one do you pick? So if I pick here, then I get different things down here, okay? So the default primary activity type I set to task. The activity type, this is a bit confusing here. I set to event, but you'll notice when I set it to event, I get create participant automatically while creating the link. And then I get to pick what event type it should be by default. If 90% of what I do is a meeting, then I can set that. Okay, I can set a default priority. If I change this to task, notice how this changes. The primary type is task, and then it has the different tasks that I have underneath it, okay? And then if I change it to call, I will get, there's my follow-up call that I just added. So I have call and follow-up call. So you can customize this a little bit to your particular way of working. What do you do 90% of the day? Okay, I make phone calls almost all day long, so I'm going to set my primary type to call and my call type to call, so it will fill that in automatically for me and I don't have to worry about doing it, okay? So that will be your end user where you can go in and set these things for your default. You save it, you log out, you log back in, and you will then have those settings for yourself. So when we go back in now and go to activities, we should no longer see that ranking bar at the top. Okay, so that is gone. So that's, that's a personal preference whether you want to see that or not. All right, so now adding an activity in here. If I am in Well, let's start in an account, let's say. And I want to add an activity to airflow equipment. No, I don't, because there's no contact. There. Okay. So I'm going to open this. And again, there's multiple ways to do this. I can come up here and click on the shortcut buttons that are up here. What I want to do. I could go to the activity tab, and then under the activity tab, first of all, I have check boxes to see what types of activities I want to view under here. So if I don't want to see phone calls, I turn it off. Again, as your activity list gets pretty long, you may want to turn some of these off and see only certain ones. And then here you can hide any completed activities. So this gives you some control under here. Then to add a new activity from the tab, you click here and you can say, I want a new call, a new event, or a new task. And then it will open the appropriate window for you to add the activity. Okay, so we now have an event activity, and then we get our different types of events, that the activity types that we assign to the event category. So let's just say this is a proposal presentation. Okay, and we're going to start this on Friday. And the time is going to be, oops. Again, you can set it whatever time. And then it's going to be an hour and a half. If you want a reminder, then you can turn it on. And then you click here to set your reminder when you want it to be, and then include the email. Okay, if you don't click here, then you won't receive an email, but you'll get the pop-up. All right. Then it can be assigned to anyone. And right now, this is linked to the account only. But I want to add the contacts. So I click here, and then it shows me my contacts associated with this account. Well, maybe I'm working with Anna. So now I have Anna at the Odessa account. Okay. If I have an opportunity, I can also link the opportunity. I don't think I have one with them. Oops. What did I do? I just unlinked everything. So wait a minute. I always click on the wrong buttons. Okay, add my contact again. Okay. Yeah, the little X deletes it. I clicked the wrong thing. But I could click here and add, you know, an opportunity, or I can start in the opportunity and create it. So wherever you want to do this, you can link it to anything from anywhere. Now here's the participants. I can add participants. So maybe another team member is going with me. So I can type him in, and perhaps two people are going with me. Oops. So I can put in multiple people. Notice I can also add another contact. Okay, I forget who the other contact was there. I'm just going to pick somebody. So it's anybody. Well, there's Anna. I don't remember the other person's name. I'm just going to pick. So anybody can pull up when you start typing a search character in here. It'll pull up anybody with that letter in it. But you can have any other contact from the database, and you also can have a custom. And in here, you can say Susan at put that person's email address in. Then once you've done that, so here we haven't spent the hours yet, but this would be where I'd be able to type in, 1.5 hours at what point. Here's my outcome. So the only event outcome I had was meet with internal team, which these wouldn't go in until after I'm done with the meeting, the presentation. Okay. But you can see how this all fits here. Now I want to notify these guys of the meeting. So I can click here and say send invite. Now remember, it doesn't create a calendar invite. It just sends them an email notification. So I'll go ahead and choose myself because I don't know what emails I have for them, but I can select everybody. And then when I save this and then save the activity, it'll trigger the email. We have our note down here. It's on the calendar. And then up here, the checklist, if I want a checklist, I have my checklists that have been saved. So I can pull that down. And then I can say, well, I've worked on gathering the pricing data. I'm 1/3 done. Okay. If I want to see the more, if I want to see the industry, it pulls it in. Okay. If I want to see the territory, see how it says south? That's because the territory was already set in the account record. The industry was not. So it pulls that data in for you, which again is nice to be able to do. So you can leverage those custom fields you've already put in your database. All right. So you can pull all of that information in. And then I want to collapse that. So I want to save this because this isn't scheduled until the 15th. Yes, it's prompting me. Are you sure you want to invite one person? Because I only checked one box. That's cool to do. Yes. So now I have this presentation scheduled for Friday, the 15th. This purple is a terrible color. You can't see anything. I have to change it. But that's now under here in my record. Okay. So I've created it from there. Now that was using the tab and then clicking on the new task or the new activity. The other way I can create an activity is to slide over here to this little calendar. And this pops open your ClaritySoft calendar. Okay. And this is really nice because you can go to the calendar. You can see what you already have scheduled. There's what we just created. I pop it open. Okay. So it's right there. And then if I wanted to create another activity, let's go to say to next week, because after I do this presentation on Friday, I want to make sure I get back with them next week. So I'll give them until Tuesday. And I want to create a new activity. Now, when you click on this, you get, well, what type of activity category do you want to create? So you click on call. And then you can choose follow up. And then you can put in okay. And then it's already on the 19th at 10, probably a half an hour is fine. You can give yourself a reminder, whatever you want. It's linked to ADESA. You click on the contact to select it. And again, if you needed to add another person, add an opportunity, you could. And then see now the industry did pull in here. So it's there. And then you can, save that. You've got it scheduled. It's on the calendar because that's where you created it. And then click save. So now you have a follow-up activity for next Tuesday, and you've created it here. What's nice about using the calendar is that when you go to create, if you're in another record, maybe you're working in an opportunity and you want to, add an activity for it, you can open the opportunity and you can look at what activities you've done. All right. And then you can say, oh, well, I need to do this. Okay. And slide right over here to your calendar, pop it open, and you immediately see what you have scheduled. And then you can say, oh, well, I have, let's see, we did this today. I want to give another call on Friday. So I'm going to do this. It's a call, apply. It's already connected to the opportunity. Okay. And then you can, make it a follow-up call again. So using that pop open calendar really makes it easy because wherever you are in the database, you can then pop open the calendar and then it automatically is connected to the contact, the account, or the opportunity, or you even have now the ability with the enhanced activities to add activities to quotes, sales, and projects. So wherever you are, you will see the calendar for everything. It also leads. So every module now has the ability to connect to an activity. And I think that's really great. So you've got that information. Again, the industry pulled in here. You can type your hours spent and you've got all of that information right at your fingertips here. And then to complete an activity. So for example, I'm supposed to call it 3. Maybe I called a little early and we spent 0.25 hours. Okay. And then I can type my notes. I'm just going to do my garbage notes. Type my notes, and then I can say complete. This is complete. Or I can do a complete plus new and say a new call. We talked today. We scheduled for me to call back, or I want to call back. And I can do this. And it will open a new call for me. And I'll just put second follow-up and set the date next week. So you get the idea. It's basically the same sequence, but you have additional things that you can do in here. And I'm just going to save this real quick. And then you can put it on your calendar. So this was completed, so it's green. All right. And if we go back to activities, that will be a completed one right there. Okay. And then it will have the completed date and time. And then up here, you can filter for completed activities and see only completed activities. I have no completed events. Okay, so use your filters. You can look at future activities. So those will be the purple ones. Okay. So all of it's there. Now, the other thing where I can see my linkages is the secondary link. And then I can come up here to column settings and I can pull over the link name and the link object. I'm going to pull this out of the way for right now. And click apply. So I can then see what the link name is and what it is, a contact, here's an opportunity. So for example, if I had done a number of activities with this Karma Sports Machine 1 opportunity, I can come up to my search. And this is what I was talking about before, where you could say now, the link name contains, let's see. Well, I think it'll find it this way, but we'll probably find more than what I'm looking for. Nope, there it is. So the link object is opportunity. If I wanted to hone it down, I could say the link name contains karma and the link object is equal to an opportunity. And then it would find all of the activities that I've done with this particular opportunity, which you really cannot do in the standard activities. And this makes it nice to be able to do that, to be able to see all of the things that you've done in a report, and then that could be pulled out into a report. So that's all there, able to be done, different, but the same. And like I said, new people will be getting these activity type, the enhanced activities, and all of the other people that have not switched to it can certainly switch at any time. You just either let your implementation person know if you're still in implementation, or you call tech support and they will set it up for you to have it done. Okay, so let me go back to here. And the only other thing you will need to do when you make the switch is the current Outlook plugin that you have, you'll need to uninstall it and then install the one for the enhanced activities. And then let me just show you that real quickly because I forgot. You'll go to, once you uninstall the other one, you go to the download center on the knowledge base, and over here, Outlook plugin enhanced activities. I think most people are on the 64-bit Outlook. You just click that, follow the prompts for the wizard, open your Outlook, and then reconnect to ClaritySoft in the on the button, and you're good to go. So that's all there is to that. If you're using Gmail, you don't have to do anything. Okay, it's only with the Outlook plugin that you need to upgrade it to the enhanced activities plugin. But then everything will work perfectly for you. So that's that. So thank you for coming. We had a nice sized group today, so everybody's excited about this, I think. We've been using the enhanced activities on our own ClaritySoft database for probably almost a year, and we all really like it. We also keep giving feedback on little tweaks to make to improve it, and we've already made some of those, so it's good. And if you need any help with anything or have any questions on it, then absolutely call tech support or talk to your implementation person. If you call tech support, their number is 888-838-7487, extension 2, or you can email them at support@claritysoft.com. And then if you have any new ideas for future topics to cover, please send those to us at info@claritysoft.com. Or give us some ideas on how we can improve these webinars for you, make them more useful for you. Okay. We're always looking for help on that, looking for new ideas. And they come from you because that's how our database gets better, how our software gets better with information, suggestions from all of our customers that we have. So with that, go and have a wonderful rest of the day. And we will talk to you in a couple weeks for the next webinar.